That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Only 27 minutes gone past 2 p.m. And of course, it's your number one hit music station, 96.9 a Cool FM. Now, you know how we do it. Every Thursday, back to what? Back, baby. We like to give you a very special person to give us some insider tips about this lovely, lovely industry. If you know what I mean. And of course, 2 weeks ago, we had a beauty queen and a movie producer. And of course, just last week, we had Bam Bam Bam. And of course, today, we've got someone that's so bright, you can't even maintain straight vision when you look on sight. That wasn't that cool, was it?
No.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening earlier on, I told you for just that 5,000 naira, you get to win some cool cash if you can guess who we have in the studio with us. Bright Okpocha, better known by his stage name, Dash, is a Nigerian comedian and actor. You know, we all know him. He's organized popular stand-up comedy concerts like Dash Uncensored across the globe. He was born on the 14th day of September 1978, and he's in the studio with us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guessed that our guest is Basketmouth, then you were absolutely correct. He's in the studio with us, and we're absolutely glad to have him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
How's life treating you these days? I mean, word on the street is that you split your time between two continents. So what's that like? Balancing work, family, and creativity across different time zones.
Yeah, man, it's difficult. So the thing is, it's all about management. It's all about time management and structuring yourself in a way where everything. But at the same time, you can't be too organized. You need, to create room for some,
Important things.
spontaneous things that can just, anything that just, just to create a little bit of fun. So yeah, it's right now. I've been in Nigeria for a minute. So when I shuttle in terms of continents, it's mostly for my tours. But when I'm done, I'm back home. So yeah, I'm balancing myself pretty well.
Ain't no place like home.
It depends.
That's it, get me, That's it, really get me. Now,
yeah, you know what I mean.
I want to go a little bit more into your comedy, but I want to ask a question that I personally have. I didn't even want to check it out. I wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah,
I've been a fan of you since, I was able to have a celebrity idol or an icon. Because, you've been doing this for quite a while, sir.
Yeah.
I got to admit.
Yeah.
I know you've said it before, 100 times perhaps, but how did you go from Bright Okpocha to Basketmouth?
Yeah, okay, that happened. It was in 1999, 98. I think it was 98. I did a gig in Uniben, and I didn't have a set, so I was just yabbing people. It was more like yabbies. They started it. So when they started, attacking me, it was like a verbal, war, and I won. Yeah, I won a crowd of 1,500 people.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, like a bunch of them. I won't say the entire crowd was at me, but at least maybe a good 10% started it. And when the jabs is coming in from the crowd, the people around them always cheer because they're their friends and all that.
Definitely.
But I went hard. So when I was done, some guy walked up to me and he was walking, not like he walked up to me, he was walking by and just said, "Yo, bro, man, you get Basketmouth too." I was like, that's a good one. I think I like that one. And that's how...
The rest is history.
That's how it happened. I wish I didn't take that name though.
Why not?
I wish I went with Bright Okpocha.
Really?
Like your first and last name.
Yeah.
Why though?
I'll tell you. So it's... Actually, it's... I don't want to break it down. I have a set that I did that I explained why, and if I say it now, I'll ruin the set.
You are. Come on. It's an exclusive.
I was about to just say, I just remember that, Brad, that's your set.
Okay.
Don't let it go now.
All right. I know how we're going to take that one. But I can see it from the tip of my tongue that maybe you wanted to be known by your real name so it can,
No, not even that. The thing is, yes. So what I was thinking about then, myself and my first manager, were like, let's create the character so we can separate me from the character, right? So that was what we were doing. That's what we thought was the best one. By the end of the day, if we had thought more about it, we would have been able to create the character and keep the name the same.
To be honest.
Just manage it properly.
To be honest.
So we were just thinking about, because I won't say Basketmouth was a fluke, but Basketmouth was discovered on a journey to something else. Like, I didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to be a comedian. I was aiming for something else, and comedy thing just came in. I was like, okay, you know what? Since I'm going this way, let us create this one, give it a brand, and see how it goes. But
If I'm to take a lucky guess, was it music you were aiming for at first?
it was music, concerts, putting up concerts. I started off with music, but when it comes to entertainment, I was a show promoter back then in Uniben, and we started our own thing with. We started with Paul Play
Dairo, yeah.
Yeah, it was Paul Ike Dairo. Then he was the first person I used, him and Ali Baba and someone else. It was three. Then after that, I now did the Remedies. That was the next one. I brought a bunch of people back then until, it was one of those shows, and I got on stage. I said, you know what, Bright, crack joke for this one, say, see how it be. And that was how it started, like pretty much. Other things happened, but it's a long story. My life now good full movie. my life in Nigeria, I would drag if they make Nigeria a series on Netflix, and they make my own life, we will compete.
I mean, if you're listening right now, there's a lesson to be learned from that. I mean, we all know him for his bold strides in comedy, but do you see how all of it came together? Not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
But in a way, it was destined.
Yeah, it was destined.
If you think about it like that.
If I like when I sat back and played back everything, I realized that no, Bright, you wanted to go somewhere, but something pushed you. Something just kept pushing me. First, because I started picking out all the
things that fell into place.
Yeah. First, there was one guy that called me, yo, bro, man, you funny, yo. Have you seen Eddie Murphy's Delirious? Boom. So that people were just planting things on me that were just pushing me towards comedy. And there was one time, one of the first show I did, it was in Ekenwa campus back then. I wasn't supposed to perform. I wasn't supposed to do comedy. We had done our set, and our set as musicians.
Yeah.
Then the comedian hosting the show was, he was dry, I'm sorry.
I mean, you would know.
This guy was destroying himself. So, as a comedian, you know that I was practicing there.
Yeah.
But the guy was going in. I was like, man, this guy see opportunities. So I told Dotun to talk to the organizer of the show. His name is Maro. So Maro, if you're listening, big shout out to you. Maro reluctantly, he first of all said, but my music the boy just do now. Come on, let him do his music and leave. But I told Dotun to push.
Shout out to Dotun, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. OG.
I told Dotun push. I want to do this comedy thing. And eventually, Maro said, okay, let him do 5-10 minutes. That 5-10 minutes ended up being 45 to 50 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was one of my best sets ever. Because people were shocked. I said, no, the same guy, we just rap finish. And in Ekara campus, when they laugh, they don't give you standing ovation at first. But when you hit them hard, they bang on their table.
They break chair, they go.
So when I heard the thing the first time, I feared small. I was like, shit, what's going on? And I realized that it was how they celebrate me.
You're the reason.
I was the reason. I was like, oh, that's how they do it. So I kept going. And that was the highlight of the show. And that was the first time I felt, I went to eat at the restaurants in the Ekara campus then. And I sat down to eat, and someone paid for my food.
A celebrity in the making.
I was like, oh, damn. So this is how it is.
That's how it be.
Oh.
I mean, ladies and germs, if you don't know before, I'm pretty sure now you know that when opportunity meets preparation, success is all but guaranteed. I'm pretty sure Adeife is dying to jumping at this point.
Yeah, because I mentioned Delirious.
And she's such a big fan
I
of
love
comedians.
That is my favorite stand-up special of all time, Delirious.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, you do a brand of like observational comedy, yes?
Yeah.
So how would you say growing up in Nigeria gave you an edge as a comedian?
Oh. So the thing...
Brilliant question as always.
So you're in comedy, like you already pointed out, you feed from your environment, you feed from events happening, be it to you, other people, the society, the system, and all that in government. And in terms of how I've been feeding, like, I think Nigeria is a very good source of material.
To be honest.
Yes.
I think it's probably the best source in the world. Right?
Nigeria is like a movie.
Trust me, there's so much to feed from. You know, if it's not, like there was one time they said, I don't know if it's true or false, but I was one bill they tried to pass about adding 30 more states. They wanted to add 30 more states to the 36 we already have. You see, all those news, all those things, like when you hear that they are building a rail track and they first of all went to Niger and skipping the east. You know, when they did that, like, you know, like say Niger, they close that and going to the east. Like there's, so when you see all these things, or when you see someone that's been accused for, you know, embezzlement, and the next thing he's fainting,
right on the
like right there,
while they're questioning
him, and everybody does the same thing. You know, if the ones who go climb trees, go climb tree. The ones who
snake go swallow money,
monkey go. You know, some of the stuff. You know, it's just a lot to feed from. You know, just too much. So trust me, Nigeria is
one of the best places to be a comedian.
It's a very great buffet. It's a very great buffet table.
You know,
and if you want to go to the easier part in terms of entertainment, it doesn't end. It just keeps coming.
Okay.
You know, but I try as much as possible to stay away from such materials, because for me to be able to hit my point, someone is going to catch a stray bullet.
Yeah, of course.
Like there was one I did about Zeke Saloma. Like, you know, I felt bad, you know, but, you know, it happens, you know.
Does that happen often? Do you tend to feel bad after like a skit? I mean, it's supposed to be comedy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. But people are more sensitive these days.
Okay.
So sometimes when I drop something, rarely, and I drop something that, you know, at the end of the day, someone is catching a stray bullet, I always, because I'm human, I empathize. I'm like, okay, you know, looking at it from this angle, I understand why he or she would feel bad. But it's rare, because before I drop any material, be it skit or material on stage, I run it through my people. You know, there's Dotun, there's Tayo, there's Victoria, there's even down to Bayo Adeife, one of my first managers. So they run through it. So for each one, since there's a female there, you know, if the material is about the women and you know, they might not take it lightly, she will point it out. So I run through, you know, Tayo is the Gen Z, you know, so I run it through everybody just to be able to stay, you know, correct. Because now, these days, everybody is just so sensitive.
Everybody is sensitive. And it's not just Nigeria, to be honest.
It's the world.
Because I think Dave Chappelle himself got into kind of hot water because of his special at some point.
Supposed hot water. They thought he was in the hot water.
But I mean, my man don't care. He don't send on that, papa.
Like me, so I'm in that same space. There's me, if I drop something and people don't feel it, and I know it's funny, and I know, like, I can defend myself. Oh, you're wasting your time. I wish we could go back to then. You know, there was one time where, before social media came in, when you want to get gossip news and all those things, only from Fame magazine, Encomium,
Ovation,
all those. That's where you can. And there's no room there's nowhere for you to comment.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that point where we can hear everybody's point of view. Because then, if you read you read that soft sell magazine and you have your opinion, there's nowhere for you to type it. You'll keep it to yourself. You understand?
Unless you're a comedian.
Yeah, except you're a comedian.
You can talk about it on stage.
But you know, but right now, anybody that sees anything, they'll just take themselves, boom, and start typing.
Instagram,
and
TikTok.
A lot of people know they're okay.
At all.
Let me you'll go like, and sometimes you see the news and you see the comment, you're like, how does it connect?
Like, what's the correlation?
Yeah, so
it's a crazy place.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's a jungle out there.
Yeah, it's jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're having a great time. We definitely are. We've got Basketmouth in the studio, and of course, he's dropping gems, dropping things that we always wanted to hear. And now we get a chance to hear it because you're tuned into your number one hit music station, 96.9 Cool FM. Now, when we're still in the room with an OG, a legend before IG. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Basketmouth, the one and only Basketmouth. And of course, at some point last year, he declared that he's not leaving comedy for movies. But before we dive into that, let's talk about what we're talking about before we went on a break. You were talking about how it's a jungle out there, especially on social media.
Especially on Twitter.
Especially on Twitter. And of course, off the air, you dropped some gems about how, you know, it's probably not the best to respond at all times. Can you just shed some more light on that?
Okay. So the thing is, this is my own approach, right? You know, when social media started now, people had an opportunity to start, you know, having conversations in that forum. But a lot of people misused it, you know. Normally it's for communication.
Ideally.
Sell your stuff, your creativity and all that. Then it started changing. There was a lot of, you know, showing your wealth and all those stuff, you know, showing that, you know, which, to be honest, when people show those things, I'm like, then you're poor, man. Come
Actually,
on.
I think Jay-Z said, you're on the gram putting money in your ear. It's a disconnect. We don't call that money over here. That's what Jay-Z said.
100, you know, because think about it now. Okay, you're from the streets, you make it, you know, to the top. Let's say to the top. The people, wealth is wealth.
Yeah.
You are rich, right? So if you start showing your wealth, they're not looking at you. The guy is on top, and now you're pissing on these guys. You know, like sometimes it's better to just not show anything.
Not show anything.
But anyway, where I was going to is,
you
know, when people started talking and people started attacking celebrities. When celebrities started responding, I was trying to get them to stop, because the thing is, these guys, they want to get your attention, right? All they want to do, they say something very off, something very that's like with a lot of venom.
Yeah.
It can kill.
As if you're not a human being yourself.
Yeah, so most times when you respond is when those bloggers pick it up. If you don't say anything, it goes. But for the fact that you've responded, and the guy is at home, excited. He was nobody, but now, you don't pinch a celebrity, supposed idol, so to speak. You know, now in the flex. Now he has done it. Other people are seeing it. They want to do it. And it keeps going. And every artist, they keep responding to the same thing. Or they follow somebody. I'm not running anybody down, but now you are the big star. You shouldn't, I'm not saying you shouldn't speak to your fans, but you shouldn't engage them in that way.
You know?
Only respond to positive energy. You know, so right now that thing grew, and that's the reason, you know, today somebody will post something. There's no respect anymore. And, you know, becoming a celebrity is now so easy. You know, you don't have to be talented anymore to be
honest.
a celeb. You know, before you had to earn
actually
it.
have something to show, something to sell. But now a clout chaser could be given a platform based off of clout chasing.
That's it.
And it's not an ideal situation, to be honest.
Before you have to be, think about it, the people that were famous in the time of Two-Face, and think about that era. You have to have something, you know, but now you just see, you know, people like, let me ask you a question. In terms, since my time on Bovey, have you had, like, what's the next, like, which comedian has the wave right now? Name one. Name one stand-up comedian that came with a wave.
From recent time,
I'll
obviously.
wait for 2 hours. I'll give you that time. And I can say the same thing in movies. I can say the same thing in music as well. Let me just throw it out there. It's my own opinion. Yeah.
In case you were confused. Let's quickly move into movies. Now, I know for a fact that you produced Flatmates. So now, how would you assess your growth and progress as a movie producer so far?
So I started with Flatmates. Yeah. It was my first attempt. I found out I could do it after I did it. You know, I've never produced a TV show before, 260 episodes a year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And this is our 9th year. We're aiming for about 2,000 episodes now. And yeah.
It's crazy.
I've probably written about 700 stories.
You write most of it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe
That is amazing.
700. It's just like writing jokes.
Yeah.
This time around, you have the room to stretch it out to 22, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Create songs. Yeah, it's you know, with all due respect to the writers, you know. So when I started it, it was a discovery for me. We did the first year, it was a struggle, and we figured it out in the course of it, because, you know, it's hard for you to get comedians to follow a script that's written by writers, just writers that don't understand the details and all the things, the technicalities when it comes to comedy.
Yeah.
You know, so they were making it seem more drama than sitcom. So we, you know, had a meeting and said, okay, you know what? Let the comedians start writing, the ones that have the talent to write. let them start writing the stories the way it fits.
Yeah.
And we did some small training here and there, and
It popped off.
And right now that's why the show, because the comedians are like 90% or 80% of the writers.
Yeah.
So it's rich.
It's
and we
definitely
did that. After a while, thought to myself, okay, you know what, Bright, how about movies? So I jumped on that as well. We did a Get a Love Story, which got about 4 nominations at AFRIF. And,
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And the writer, we also got best nominations for best writing as well for AMVCA.
Wow.
Yeah. So and
It kind of seems like everything you touch turns to gold. Am I okay to say that?
yeah.
You don't want to accept it, but I'm telling you. I'm telling you that is a fact.
Amen. God has been merciful.
Of course.
And now we're working on something this is going to be probably the biggest one.
Okay.
It's going to be the biggest one. It's I don't think I'm allowed to see.
Not
too
just
much.
yet, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, but
it's going to be it's an epic.
okay.
It's my first attempt.
At an epic.
Yeah.
It's gonna be epic.
It's going to be epic. It's an Igbo epic.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm Igbo.
Yes.
Of
So
course.
it's only not like I don't really care about that.
No tribal business here.
No. But it's a case where since I'm Igbo, I don't know. It's only right for me if I want to do an epic series.
Yeah.
I'll pick the language that I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable with.
Yeah, and Igbo is that language.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, because of time, I want to quickly segue to something that I think you've mentioned a couple of months ago, if I'm correct. There's been talks that certain streaming platforms are, pulling out or, just reducing
They've pulled
funding.
out.
Oh, they've pulled out.
Not like they pulled out, like they've stepped back.
They've stepped back.
Yeah. That's the. I'm not saying.
Of course.
I'm saying what
Reported
like,
speech.
Yeah.
So, and, you also kind of mentioned that they go collect money for this one.
Let's not-
They go use that for that one.
Let's not get into that. I don't want to get dragged in. No, they didn't drag me.
No, it's
but
not dragging.
they
But I
didn't
mean, what is
drag
your
me.
overall
They didn't drag
critique
me,
of
but
the industry?
A lot of players in the game were really upset
Okay.
about the statement.
Okay.
And the last time someone asked me, so how do you feel about it? My response was that I wasn't sorry.
I mean, now's your time to clear the air, I believe. So,
Yeah, I'm not clearing any air. There's no
Wow.
air to clear.
okay.
I'm not clearing
Talk
any
that
air.
talk.
No, this is true. I said what I said.
Yeah.
And, that's it. Like, I'm not going to go back. But I still gist with that one now. So, we know
Okay.
what we did. We are here now. Unfortunately, things are not going. Like, look at what's going on right now. Look, you see it. You see that right now, YouTube is now our new streaming platform. That's where everything is going right now,
Yeah.
And we seem to forget that the advertising budget allocated to Africa hasn't increased. So if we have 10 movies on, YouTube coming from Africa, and we have 1 million movies coming in from Africa on that platform, it's the same money that everybody will share. So it's a case where you say less is more and more is less. Do you understand? So now we have a lot more, but we're making a lot less.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's
And that's
the point.
kind of like a sorry state, don't you think?
Yeah, so it's a race to zero right now.
It's a race to zero.
But
But
I'm
overall, how do you
hoping-
see the industry?
I'm hopeful, but if I want to be real, dude, let me tell you how it is. Right now, if you pay attention to what's going on, like the streaming platforms, they're the future in terms of entertainment.
Yes.
They even popped the balloon. They even
Yeah.
did a live streaming
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Cinema is kind of like taking the backseat.
Yeah. And that is happening, and they are pulling out from our own space. That's not a good sign.
Okay.
If that's the future, and we weren't able to maintain that relationship with these guys and make our space, comfortable for them to thrive in, and they're leaving, bro, that's not good. Because at the end of the day, we need investments
To be honest, to
be
scale
able
up.
to scale up. Right now, the industry, the movie, the cinema in that cinema space is not really the way it used to be. As myself and someone, Kelechi, we were having a conversation, and he told me that in Nigeria, with about 200 to 300 million people, just 1% go to the cinema to watch movies in a year. That's terrible.
That is a terrible metric.
Yep.
That's terrible. That's 1%. That's 3 million, about 2
2 million.
yeah. Dude, That's not good.
That's not good.
While
Anyways.
in all these other countries
Yeah.
like South Korea,
United States.
United States, at least 3 tickets is bought by one person to go see 3 movies. One person is equal to 3 movies. See the math?
See the mathematics. We
So
definitely need
if it
to
was
do
like
better.
that here, if we're supporting our own, going to the cinema, if our people were giving our people, the producers were giving our people a worthy movie to go to the cinema to see, trust me, it will work. But a lot of people are scared. So people have been burnt. They're like, man, I spent that money to go see that movie. I slept almost all through.
Uh-oh.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's all about what we're giving them. You if you catch Mugu once or twice, but not too many
It's
times.
not going to be too many times.
You understand?
My name is Velvet Sandpaper, and I'm here with Adeife, and of course, the one, the only Basketmouth right here in the studio. And he's been dropping banger after banger, bombshell after bombshell.
Yeah, so unfortunately, please forgive me if I offended you. Please.
Or not. He doesn't really care about that.
No, but actually, forgive me if I said the wrong thing. But
No, but you didn't say the wrong thing. It's your truth, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's my truth.
And Adeife, I wanted to ask you a question about something you said earlier on about the cinema situation. You want to drop it real quick?
Yes. So, given the stats that you just gave us and your 2,000 episodes in Flatmates, what do you think makes a hit movie or a hit show? What are the ingredients?
She always asks amazing questions.
So with TV shows or movies or whatever it is that is, visual, sound, it starts with the story.
Okay.
The story, the key, that's the key to open that door, right? If the story is perfect, then you're like halfway in, yeah. And then another thing that's very important that we kind of lack, if I want to speak freely, we lack a lot, right? Is the interpretation of that story.
That is true. I agree.
Right. A lot of the movies we've seen, if you hear the original story as against how
What eventually came out?
you will be. That's like there are no a writer that does not use her real name whenever she writes a story. She you just give a fake name
So that they won't
Because just
associate
in
her with that
case-
project.
So that just in case,
You know.
And a lot of our producers, they don't make the world realistic. If I'm watching an epic movie, I want to believe that I'm watching an epic movie. I want to believe in that world. I don't know if you've seen The House of David on
It's currently streaming, yes.
Sorry,
House of David.
You believe that world, the same as Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Those are believable
Jesus.
worlds, right? So it starts from letting me believe your world. I don't want to watch your movie and I can tell that it's a set. I'm not dragged in. Another thing is the actors, right? The actors, most of our actors I was watching, I don't want to mention the name of these movies. It was a movie. Yeah, I think it was a series. They were reciting the script. So Nigerian, see, we have been talking. Sometimes I talk fast, sometimes I talk slow.
You're talking to me, not talking at me.
Yeah, they talk. You talk how they talk. These guys, they pick the words because they didn't digest.
I said that earlier on. That sometimes they just read the script,
Yes.
not
They
necessarily
They don't digest.
converse.
They are not. Yeah. So the trick behind that is for you to, when you get your script. Most of them, they don't even read their script. I experienced it when we did a Ghetto Love Story. There were some scenes that if they had followed the script to the T, that movie would have gotten 2 nominations for writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they 30% of the script wasn't followed.
Was lost in translation.
Was lost. They were like, dude, so we had to now start cutting scenes. We cut off about 30 minutes of quality scenes from the movie because the actors missed their lines.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah. So you can imagine
I see the issue now.
You go vex small if you're a perfectionist.
But do you have a favorite actor or favorite actress?
Oh, yeah.
Give someone a shout out right now. Who's your favorite actor?
There's no, they'll not say favorite. That makes it, but some of my favorite, Wale Ojo.
I know Wale Ojo very well.
Wale Ojo is
a class act.
Uzo Arokwe.
Okay.
Odogu himself.
Yeah, Uzo. The man just can, because sometimes they don't, some casting sometimes it can be wrong. But Uzo is that actor that no matter how bad the story is, he's still able to hold his character.
To make it work.
Yeah. And the last thing about what makes a great movie, the directing is key, definitely.
Ooh, yes.
You know, directing is key, definitely. The actors, right? I talked about the actors. Then the last one, what else?
Director. I think that's pretty much it
That's
in a
pretty
nutshell.
much it.
Do you have a favorite actress though? Because I want you to mention the ladies too.
Ah,
It can't just be the guys.
okay. I love Chioma Chukwuka,
Okay.
Patience Ozokwo.
All right. OG's right there.
Yeah, they know how to interpret their.
Any new age actress on your radar?
Hey, yeah. If you really,
Ooh,
yeah,
I know her.
Yeah. She's
lit.
badass. Yeah, she's good.
All right, man.
You know, for me, I'm sorry, like they're all good.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't hear your name, trust me, it doesn't take anything from you. And even if you have seen the movie that you did that was crap, trust me, I don't blame you.
It's not your fault.
Sometimes it's the director, the producer, because our people are all talented. It's how you use them.
That counts.
So sometimes I don't like saying, this guy can't really deliver.
Yeah, it's probably not his fault.
Yeah, and some people don't tell me, say, Brian, don't always criticize them. Sometimes it's the director.
Yeah.
And I've come to believe that. Like sometimes it's the director.
Man, thank you so much, to be
Thank
honest.
you
Because of
so
time
much.
left to me, I want to continue on
the last
and
one,
on. Okay.
A good movie.
Uh-huh.
Scoring, sound.
Okay.
Oh,
Sound.
Okay.
You can be passing a different kind of emotion, and the sound is playing something else. I'm not going to feel what you're trying to say. That's
All
it.
right.
Thank
That's
you very
it.
much.
Thank you so much, Basketmouth. We really appreciate you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so much.
for all the bombshells.
and just say, yo, bro, man, you get Basketmouth too. And I'm like, that's a good one. I think I like that one. And that's how
The rest is history.
it happened. I wish I didn't take that name though.
Why not?
I wish I went with Bright Okocha.
Really?
Like your first and last name.
Yeah.
Why though?
I'll tell you. It's a
In
long
between.
story. My life now good full movie. my life in Nigeria, I would drag if they make Nigeria a series on Netflix and they make my own life, we will go compete.
Yeah,
I wish we could go back to then. You know, there was one time where before social media came in, when you want to get gossip news and all those things, only from Fame magazine, Encomium,
Ovation.
all those. That's where you can. And there's no room. There's nowhere for you to comment, because then if you read you read that soft sell magazine and you have your opinion, there's nowhere for you to type it. You'll keep it to yourself. But but right now, anybody that sees anything, they'll just take themselves, boom, and start typing.
Instagram,
and
TikTok.
A lot of people know they're okay.
At all. I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not clearing any air. There's no
Wow.
air to clear.
Okay.
I'm not clearing
Talk
any
that
air.
talk.
No, this is true. I said what I said.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's it. And name one stand-up comedian that came with a wave.
From recent time,
I'll wait
obviously.
for 2 hours.
Off the air, you dropped some gems about how, it's probably not the best to respond at all times. Can you just shed some more light on that?
Okay, so right now, that thing grew, and that's the reason, today, somebody will post something. There's no respect anymore. And, becoming a celebrity is now so easy. You don't have to be talented anymore to be
honest.
a celeb. Before you had to earn
Actually
it.
have something to show, something to sell. But now a clout chaser could be given a platform based off of clout chasing.
That's it.
And it's not an ideal situation, to be honest.
Yeah, before you have to think about it, the people that were famous in the time of Two-Face, and all that, think about that era. You have to have something, but now you just see, people like, let me ask you a question. In terms, since my time on Bovey, have you had, what's the next, which comedian has the wave right now? Name one.